Welcome to This Week in Tiger Athletics. I'm your host, Haley White, and joining me today is Jason McCullough, head track and field and cross-country coach. He's in his 14th season as cross-country coach and second year as head track coach. He has helped elevate the program each year and produce several All-Americans. First of all, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
You've seen a lot of impressive performances so far this indoor season. How would you describe how the season's going?
It's gone well. We've been, for the most part, pretty healthy, and we've got all our meets in. That's always you never know about that with the weather. But yeah, the indoor season's going well, and we have the conference meet coming up here in a week and a half.
And you get your final regular season indoor meet this week at the Nebraska Tune-Up before the MIAA Championships next weekend. What are you looking forward to?
Well, like the name implies, it's a tune-up, and it's basically a tune-up for our conference meet. So it's the last chance to get a good time, to get a good seed for the conference meet, and also a chance to work on some things that we need to work on. So whether that's a little bit of speed work, working on starts, working on technique in the field events, it's the last chance to do that before the conference meet.
There's been a lot of great performances this season, but let's start with Brett Meyer. The senior just continues to rack up MIAA honors as the season progresses.
Yeah, he's been the MIAA Runner of the Week 3 weeks in a row, which might be a record, I'm not for sure. He might have got it last week, but we set him out to have him rest, so it was his week off. He's had a great season. I think he's ranked third in the mile, and he's ranked up there in the 800 meters, although he's only ran that one time. So he's had a great season for us so far.
And he broke the 4-minute mile mark last summer and is sitting third, like you said, in the D2 at 4 minutes, 4.23 seconds in this indoor season. How have you seen him improve?
Just gradually over the years, he's improved. He's put together some really good races, and he's been really consistent. And one thing about Brett is that he's a winner, and so no matter what the race, what the pace, what the tactics of the race is like, he wins, or he tries to win, and that's what I like to see in my athletes.
And another senior, Colt Newell, has a provisional mark in the high jump with 6 feet 8 3/4 inches. He hit some good marks in high school a few years ago and continues to improve each year at Fort Hays.
Yeah, Colt's done a great job, and he had knee surgery last fall and has come back strong. And he's made some really good attempts at 7 foot. I think he's one jump away from hitting a real good national qualifier.
And one of the impressive things about Newell is he's not very big, and how successful he is at what he does is just very impressive.
He's a very petite high jumper. He's one of the shortest and smallest high jumpers. Probably the amount of height he gets according to his height is there's probably not another person in the NCAA quite like that. So yeah, I don't know how tall he is. Maybe 5'6", 5'7". And to be able to jump close to 7 foot is pretty amazing.
And Rohit Singhatay recently hit a provisional in the triple jump of 39 feet 8 3/4 inches. That's the 14th best mark in D2 after last weekend. How has she been able to elevate?
Right, yeah, she came in as a long jumper primarily, and this year we started working with her with the triple jump. And this last meet, she finally started to put it together and really exploded. And she had a great series. She hit a national qualifier, I believe, in her first jump. And then each jump after that just got a little bit better. And she jumped, I know it was 12:11 on the metric system, which at the time put her in 9th place, and now she's in 14th. So she really exploded on the triple jump, and she's among the best in the conference now.
And we can't forget to mention that the women's 1600 meter relay team that set a new school record last weekend while competing at Pitt.
Yes. At the beginning of the year, Coach Groutman said our 4x400 meter women's team had a chance to break that record, and he was right. And they have a lot more in them as well. So if they have good handoffs, execute their legs properly, they can probably knock another 2 or 3 seconds off that, which is pretty important. Right now, we're just a second off of that 3rd place time in the conference, and to be able to make a podium in the 4x4 would be a good thing for us.
So entering the last few weeks of the indoor season, are you content with where your team is sitting at right now?
I don't think a coach is ever content with where they're at. They want to continue to improve. I know we have a few things we need to work on. Team chemistry is good right now, and people are working hard, and the main thing is that we stay healthy, healthy from illness and from injury, which is a big thing. But for the most part, we've hit some really good marks. We're pretty well spread out when it comes to different events. We're doing well in the distance, the middle distance, the jumps, the sprints, the throws. So, we're right where we need to be right now.
And it's common that a lot of coaches use indoor season as a training mechanism for the outdoor season. Is that something that you follow? Yeah,
to a certain extent. It's hard to peak multiple times in a short period of time. So you want to do well at the conference and national meet indoors, but at the same time, the ultimate goal is outdoors. So typically, you want to see your athletes continue to improve through the outdoor season, and then have their best marks, around conference meet for the outdoor season. So yeah, we use that as kind of a, not necessarily a practice run, but to kind of get ready for the outdoor season for most of our athletes.
And it's only a little more than a month until it actually kicks off. With the number of athletes you had at outdoor nationals last year, do you have high hopes into this season?
Yeah, we do. Last year we had 14 total All-Americans. We took 14 athletes to the outdoor national meet. Now we graduated quite a few of those athletes, and so we're going to have some younger athletes, but I do expect to have a pretty large team going to outdoor nationals as well. We definitely set the bar high last year, and that's our goal every year, to get multiple athletes to the national meet and to be All-American.
And a lot of people in Hayes don't get a chance to see the team in person, but FHSU hosts the Alex Francis Classic on March 29th. Talk about that event a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we have one home track meet every year, and this year it's on March 29th. That's a Friday, and we'll start out with some of the field events, the throws and the jumps. Those will start at around noon on Friday, and then the running events start, I believe, at 2 p.m. And so it should be a good chance to get out there to see the new facility and to see us compete.
The outdoor program has a history of producing national champions and All-Americans. Who are a few athletes we should be watching out for this spring?
Well, there's a few events that we don't have outdoors, or indoors that we have outdoors, like the javelin. So Alexia Deutscher, she's a returning All-American. Jacob Gahn in the discus should be a chance to go to nationals. And then we have a few other events like the steeplechase, which we have some all-conference athletes coming back there. So there's some different events. Definitely in the throws, should expect to see some more people qualifying for nationals.
Well, thanks for joining me, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
When we return, we will break down the rest of this week in Tiger Athletics.
He often climbs to the third floor of Rarick without taking a second breath. No matter when he submits his assignment to Blackboard, it is considered early, even if it is 5 days late. The line at Starbucks parts when he arrives. He considers the homecoming bonfire a small flame for s'mores. Every time he walks downtown, it's considered a march to Maine. His doodles on scrap paper are framed and hung in Rarick Hall. Once he parked in a 30-minute zone overnight, and the campus police left him a thank you note and a gift card.
I don't always party, but when I do, I register with SGA. Now party responsibly, my friends.
Welcome back to This Week in Tiger Athletics. Joining me now is FHSU SID Ryan Prickett, and he's going to help me break down the rest of this week's schedule. So in basketball, the men beat Pitt State 77-75, but they lost to Missouri Southern 78-66.
Yeah, a big win for the men there on the road at Pittsburgh State the other night. We knew that was definitely going to be a very hard road trip. I think we feel good coming out of that 1-1, just seeing what the records were of the teams. Those teams play pretty well in their home buildings. the men in that game against Pittsburgh, it was kind of the same thing like what we talked about the week earlier against Kearney. Kept getting really close to them, and then we'd fall back a little bit and get close again, fall back. But we kept persevering through the second half. Brady Worth had a very, very good performance that night in the post. All of his field goals were two-pointers that night. Brady's had a little bit of a run here late where we rely on him to hit a few three-point shots and stuff like that. But he really dominated down in the post, kind of put on a clinic there early in the second half to get us back within striking distance, and then came up really big for us late in the game when we needed it down the stretch. And like I had talked about the week prior, Grant Lazoya of Pittsburgh State, who's kind of their instant offense, he got the game tied with 14 seconds left, or 15, whatever it was. Hit a phenomenal shot over in the right corner, off-balance three-pointer over two of our guys. So it's just like, oh, of course he'd hit that. So he gets the game tied, and then Aaron Nicholson, who played really well for us there down the stretch in that game, kind of just collected himself near half court, made a good drive to the basket, and obviously was able to, I guess, fend off a little bit of contact and make a nice layup there with 4 seconds to go. And we played good defense on their inbound to try and get down and get a three-point shot off, or any type of shot off, really, to either tie or win the game, and made it hard for them to even get a good look at it. So that was a great performance for our men to get through that game, keep Pitt behind us in the conference standings. But then we saw the matchup on Saturday against Southern, where it was they're fourth in the conference, we're fifth, and it just never really felt like we were really in that game. Even though it was kind of close early, it was only a 6-point game at halftime. Missouri Southern really put their foot down there at the start of the second half. We weren't hitting shots. All of a sudden that lead ballooned out to, I think, about 25 points. And so the end result of seeing that we lost by 12 really wasn't indicative of kind of how that second half went. We just scored a lot really late, and they didn't at all, so it made it look a lot closer than it was. And that's a team we'll get another crack at here at home. I feel like if we shoot the ball a little bit better against them, it's not going to be as bad, here in Hayes. I think we have a chance to beat them here in Hayes, quite honestly. But it's just one of those swings where you feel good that you at least went 1-1. You didn't really move anywhere in the standings. We're still fifth. Lincoln lost to Northwest Missouri, so now they're back in fourth, and that's going to be one of the teams we see here at home this week. So really, we're still right in that mix for potentially finishing somewhere between second through fourth, maybe even all the way down to sixth. But these next 2-3 weeks are really, we got to play well if we want to stay up there amongst that cluster of teams. So.
And the women collected 2 wins. First, a 78-53 win over Pitt, and then 72-57 win over Southern.
Yeah, great weekend for the women once again. Right now with battling a little bit of an injury issue right now with Carly being out at point guard, it was interesting to see how that team was going to respond on Thursday night against Pittsburgh State. Pittsburgh, only a 4-loss team on the year, very good squad. We went in there and flat out left no doubt. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, how we were going to run offense, things like that, and our ladies just showed up and responded and hit Pitt right in the mouth right out of the gate, and never really left any doubt in that game. Won by 25. I mean, to do that to Pittsburgh on its home floor with the type of talent they have, that's a huge win for our women. Kind of a statement win that, hey, this, we've been dealt a little hand of adversity here, but we're not going to let that affect us. And at Southern on Saturday, there was a few things we did kind of a little bit more poorly than we did on Thursday against Pittsburgh State. Coach, I think, honestly, talking to him, he didn't think we performed that well on Saturday, and I'd agree with that. There were times where we were careless with the ball. We did some things where, without Carly being out there running the point, that's the things I was worried about on Thursday. But I don't know. Maybe it's just long road trip, ladies get a little bit tired over that time. Mistakes will happen, but we still played well on the defensive end, and that's why we were still able to keep, Missouri Southern at arm's length throughout that game. And so saw some really good performances from some of the ladies that don't maybe play as many minutes. Whitney Clampett had a really good weekend in both games. So hopefully she'll keep, elevating her game. And some of the other ladies that have to step in because of Carly's, injury right now. So anyway, it's a big week for the women coming up here at home. So.
And they'll kind of get a chance to regroup and not have to travel. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously with Lindenwood and Lincoln coming in this week here to the Coliseum, Lindenwood is a team that's right behind us there in the standings. As far as if we're going to win this conference, a lot of that could hinge on Thursday night here at the Coliseum. That's the team that beat us in the conference tournament finals last year. Kind of an upstart. Nobody really expected them to win that last year. They went into the tournament as the 9 seed and just got really hot right there at the right moment. And I think everybody thought we were going to wind up winning that championship, but it didn't go our way that day. Lindenwood got the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament, but then they got beat pretty bad by the number 1 seed Augustana in the first round of the regional. So, but they have the majority of that team back. Callie Bildner, their post player inside, she's about 6'3", I believe, is how high she stands. But she's a double-double machine. She, scores a lot of points for them, usually gets about 10 to 15 rebounds a game. So if we can contain her, which they kind of, get things going through her, they do have a lot of good guard play around her, but she's kind of their centralizing force. And if you can neutralize her for some of the game, hopefully, we'll force some outside shots and they won't be hitting as well. So hopefully we keep using our good recipe for good defense and, find a way to beat Lindenwood here. And then if you look at the standings right now, we have 1 loss and now it's just Lindenwood and Washburn with 3 losses behind us. So if we beat Lindenwood head to head, this will be our only meeting in the regular season. That would drop them down to 4 losses. And then if we could just get Washburn to maybe drop another one somewhere, we're getting very close to where the math is starting to kind of squeeze together here of, we're not too far off from winning a conference championship here within the next couple of weeks. But, we got to, keep our focus 1 game at a time. Hopefully we can get the job done here at home this week against these 2 teams. And then maybe that following week could potentially look at, maybe clinching the conference if things mathematically are to that point at that time. So.
And to move on, Tiger Wrestling, 2 Tigers were able to take 3rd at the Rocky Mountain Collegiate Open this week.
Yeah, we had a couple of wrestlers go out there. Jonathan Ball, obviously the younger brother of Brandon Ball. He's trying to get some action right now, get better as he progresses here at Fort Hays State. Took a redshirt year, and we've seen some good things out of him. He's coming along nicely, and then Mason Turner, obviously, also taking 3rd in his weight class. So, yeah, a couple of good performances there. And then on top of that, we dueled Kearney. We knew that was going to be tough. We had wins from our guys that we expected to have wins from. Brandon Ball continues to dominate at 141 pounds. He's still undefeated, number 1 ranked, number 1 ranked wrestler in Division II at his weight class. He knocked off the number 8 ranked wrestler in that duel. And then FHSU guy, he won his match. And then we had a couple of guys at the higher weights step up and get some wins. So we were able to take four of those matches in that 10-match duel, and actually did pretty well against Kearney the other day. So considering that Kearney's the number 2 team in the country, so some good things out of our wrestlers here of late, and we're getting closer to regional time and seeing who's going to step up and go into that tournament and hopefully make some noise for us and maybe punch their ticket to the national championships. So.
Fort Hays softball started its season on a high note as it collected its first win of the season against Colorado Christian with a 11-4.
Yeah, the win there on Sunday against Colorado Christian in Edmond, Oklahoma. Good bounce back from losing a couple on Saturday in Arkansas to start the season. Lost 3-1 to Arkansas Monticello and lost 4-1 to Arkansas Tech. Tech is technically ranked in the top 25 right now. I don't know if they'll stay there. They've taken a few losses here early in the season, but they usually have a good squad. And both those games on Saturday, I feel like we performed pretty well from what I saw. It's just we couldn't get key hits at the right time. We were definitely getting base runners. We just couldn't get the clutch hits when we needed them. And we were up 1-0 in that game against Arkansas Tech. Taryn Caldwell had hit a solo homer in the third inning. But Haley Chapman had a pretty darn good week pitching. She just made one mistake to the wrong hitter in the Arkansas Tech game, gave up a 3-run homer, and that changed everything in that game. But then on Sunday, obviously, we bounced back. The bats, continued to produce, but this time we were stringing together hits at the right time, scoring runs, and obviously that one went well for us. Michael Ann Nelson, who is one of our new pitchers this year, she's a transfer from Connors State. She started 2 of the 3 games for us this last weekend, and she showed some good signs of promise. The way she threw, I know she's kind of probably trying to get acclimated to Division II ball and trying to figure out what works, what doesn't right now. But she held her own in the circle and picked up the win in that game. But Haley Chapman in relief was really big for us this last weekend. Even though in the game she didn't start, she threw 4 innings of relief of basically perfect ball. She didn't allow a hit or a walk and struck out 3 in those appearances. So kind of closed the door on Colorado Christian. And so hopefully going forward, we can build on that 11-4 win. We'll be home here impromptu. The spring schedule loves to just change daily around here, so you get games in when the weather allows it, basically. And so Kansas Wesleyan is now on our schedule for a doubleheader this Wednesday here at Tiger Stadium at 3 o'clock. So.
And baseball suffered 4 losses at the New Mexico Highlands.
Yeah, obviously a struggle this weekend for Tiger baseball. Right now they're going through, trying to figure out their identity, trying to figure out, who's going to be out there on the bump for us, throwing the ball, who's going to be in the lineup. Like Jared said here a couple of weeks ago, he's got a lot of things he's got to figure out right now of who's going to be our guys out there on the field. And so hopefully right now they're just going through, learning what they can do, what they can't, figuring out who's going to be on the field for us for the majority of the time, things like that. And hopefully we'll see things turn in the positive direction here before too long. But obviously, with the struggles the program has had here in recent years, Jared's working on trying to build that back up, and it's going to take some time. So hopefully our guys figure out, things that they can do right and do the little things right, and all of a sudden maybe we'll start seeing more positive results here before too long. But obviously, just talking like I did with softball, schedule changed all of a sudden for baseball this week as well. They were supposed to go to Emporia for 4 games kind of over the weekend, but Emporia's got problems with their field right now because of all the winter weather that's created poor conditions there. Fortunate enough, our field is good enough to play on Wednesday and Thursday. So baseball is going to pick up a 3-game series with Wayne State, Nebraska here over a couple of days. So hopefully being at home maybe too, that'll be a positive thing for our guys too, and maybe we'll get a couple of wins or maybe win all 3, this week. So.
Well, thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Yep.
That concludes This Week in Tiger Athletics. Tune in next week for another episode. And as always, to stay up to date on the latest news and information throughout the week, visit tigermedianet.com.